Oh, Georgie. Huh. No reason for this. Well, they say we're live. Where? That's what we want to know. If we are live, click the buttons. Help us. Oh, Lord. Oh, wait a second. Hello, we are live. Look at that. That's awesome. We are having technical difficulties. Hello. We are having technical. All right, George, we're live. Welcome, everybody. 3 people are on board. They actually had the patience to let us fumble around. Here are 2 guys that are trying to be 42 years old combined, and we are having technical difficulties. Can you imagine? Playing right into the stereotypical people over 45 can't do technology. Anyway, I am here today, Coach Rich G, aka Rich Guberti, and I am with the one and only George Jurgen, the creator of Dare to Discover Your Purpose. And that is part of the Retirement Rebellion. And George is here to talk all about tell us a little bit about his story and how he got involved in this, and then how he created this program and the paths and journeys that he went on. And also, I'm sure you're going to be able to share a little bit the tremendous amount of people that you helped, George, which I'm always very proud of that fact. And we're actually in the process of interviewing them, and we will be bringing those interviews to you because it's really fantastic and refreshing to see that people have truly been changed for the better by this program. So without further ado, George Jurgen, go get him.
Thank you, Rich. That's how can I sort of meet that outstanding introduction? But thank you for that. Right, folks, welcome. It's great to have you. It's great for me to be here. I just wanted to sort of give you my personal story in a brief outline. My life took a major turn in 2007 when I was diagnosed with a bone tumor and given 6 months to live. That I was age 52. Fortunately, the diagnosis was wrong. I belonged to the 2% club, and I survived, so to speak. But I had to semi-retire. 9 years later, I felt lost, stuck, and uncertain. And I just felt my energy, my life was being sapped out of me. And I decided to go on a 30-day silent retreat to seek what to do next, to get away from all the noise, the influence, and all the sort of social media. I just wanted to get out of the whole rat race and go to a quiet place up a mountaintop, which is normally where people go to connect with the divine. And you can't stay there long, but long enough to find out what it is that you want to do. And what I discovered was that I was not who I thought I was. You know, we build up this construct of who we are, you know, the strongest parts of our personality. We put on our invincible armor and we take on the world. Well, that wasn't me. Under that armor was a living human, vulnerable human wanting to come out. Now, that vulnerable human was the very vulnerable human that I wanted nothing to do with while I was growing up. I did not want to be next to that loser. Absolutely not, right? But as Carl Jung said, what was true in the morning of life becomes a lie in the evening. What was true in the morning of life becomes a lie in the evening. What did he mean? Well, what he meant was, in the first half of life, as it were, We seek ambition, accolades, achievements. But as we go into the second part of life, all that seems so much effort for so little reward or satisfaction. And what do? We can't continue as though nothing has happened. You can't unknow something once you know it. And so that's what happened to me when I was on my 30-day silent retreat. I stripped away all the previous personas I had. And believe me, I'm told that we have a minimum of 30 personas in our lives, right? And you need to strip those away to get to the core of who you really are. And the only people who understand what I'm talking about are people who've had a near-death experience. When you suddenly realize all the bullshit that we expound in our lives is bullshit. It's not who we really are. And so it's about achieving that higher self, which changes everything. It changes the way you look at life. It changes the way you see things and value people. And that's what happened to me. And I wrote a book on the back of that because I had to do an audit on my life. And in that audit on my life, and I had plenty of time to reflect on it, and what I discovered was 12 stories that were valuable stories, not just for me, but in my teaching, helping other people, because everyone has a story. Each one of you has a story, which is as valuable as mine. It's just that you haven't written it down. That's the only difference, because your value is in giving something different to me. You're not supposed to be me. You're supposed to be the best you. And that's what I'm trying to help you do. Bring out the strongest and the best you, the authentic you. So that's what the spirit of gratitude is. It's my journey through of discovery of myself, my true self, my higher self, my deeper self, whatever you might want to call it. So once I did that, I realized that there's no going back. I have to go forward. A bit like Alexander and his troops when he took his ship and he landed, I'm not quite sure where, I think near Crimea somewhere. And all his troops descended from the ships onto the shore. And what he decided to do to ensure that his troops could fight the enemy, who were 3 times their size, was to ensure that his people, his troops, knew there's no going back. He had their ships burnt. Now he knew his troops would be motivated to move forward. And it's the same with us. If we've still got things we're hankering for in the background, we're not going to move forward because we've got things that we don't want to lose. But you ain't taking it with you, really. So it's a delusion, right? But don't get me wrong, we all suffer from that, myself included. So moving forward, I decided that I wanted to change my mindset. Where do I go to learn about mindset? I did some research and I found a guy called Bob Proctor in Toronto, Canada, who was the guru of mindset for 50 years. And so I learned under him for 18 months. And then I started my business focusing on individuals who were retiring, people like me, or people who had just retired and weren't happy. So I decided to create this mindset course that I'd learned from Bob Proctor to serve retiring boomers. That's what I do. And yeah, so that's my story in a nutshell.
So what made you, or why did you feel you had to go on the 30-day silent journey? And what made you feel like you had to start to think the way you did, or the way, or what made you think that you needed to change your mindset? It's an epiphany that a lot of people don't get, don't try, don't do.
That's such a good question, Rich. Thank you for asking that. So here's the thing. I was semi-retired for 9 years. I was involved in some real estate, commercial real estate in New Jersey, in the US. I was involved in funding a litigation here in London. And 9 years of what I call filling time, right? Filling time is a very painful thing because you think you're free to do what you want, but you're not doing a lot and you're filling time. And that gnaws at you internally, especially if you're someone like me who likes to do things, who likes to get things done. Not everybody's like that, and that's fine. You don't have to be. But I didn't want to be filling time. I wanted to have a fulfilling time. Big difference, right? I wanted to have
Absolutely.
a fulfilling time, meaning that I wanted to my life to have meaning. I wanted to have a purpose. And I didn't have that. I felt my life was being sapped and I didn't know where to go. Like most people who are stuck in retirement, they just don't know, who do I go to? Who do I talk to? A therapist? I mean, you don't even know where to begin. And I had the good fortune of being a governor, a school governor at a Catholic school. And I knew this nun. And she'd been in one job for 50 years before she retired. And she said she went away on a 30-day silent retreat and it changed her life. Now she's running a nursing home for nuns. I mean, not my cup of tea, but you get what I mean. For
Yes.
somebody moving that, she moved mountains for in her life. Now, for me, the idea of withdrawing from life for 30 days, going up to a mountaintop and just staying in silence, the idea was extremely painful because I like to talk. And going on a
No.
silent retreat is kind of like the opposite thing. But for me, it was a challenge because I thought, shoot, if I can do 30 days in silence, God knows what I'm going to go through. But it was a challenge that I was ready to cross. I think it's there's an old saying that when the student is ready, the master appears, and it's almost a little bit like that. And so that's why I went to that. And there was a challenge for me because I know for 3 days of silence, I'd probably shoot myself. And I had to make sure I didn't drive there because I could drive back. So I took a train. So it would be more difficult for me to bail out. But it was one of the best experiences. I got to know who I really am. And as a result of that, over the 30 days, I'd grown a full beard because there was no time to shave. I'd grown a beard. I feel like Moses coming down from the mountain, except I had it trimmed and I kept a beard to remind me not to be the person I used to be. I have a new persona, a new authentic self, and I wanted to keep it that way. So I didn't want to be perfect. I wanted to be me. And so I left this beard and people got to like it. So here I am. I hope that answers your questions, Rich.
No, without a doubt. I mean, because look, the baby boomers right now, it's the number one. The amount of baby boomers out there are amazing, and here you are. You had the foresight to realize that you needed to do the things that are in this course, and that's what put you on the, let's say, this path of enlightenment. And you've helped so many people. I mean, look at you talked to, I think it was last week, Judy, didn't you? And
Right.
who's now in Seattle. And here's a woman who, after she turned 70, somewhere thereafter, she became a fitness coach, and she's coaching fitness. And what about your talk with that, which we're going to also chronologize and promote on the various websites that you're on. But what about that? I mean, look what she said. Can you just give me a little insight into that?
Yeah. Julie's in her early 60s, and
Okay.
she did my course about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And she was in a very depressed state because she'd retired. She felt useless. Things weren't going the way that she'd expected retirement to go. She has a husband and kids and so on. And but they're grown up, the kids, and she just didn't know what to do with herself. So she was, I think, the Verb is drifting into oblivion. That's what happens. You drift into oblivion, right? And even those people who go on 3, 4 vacations a year, or they go golfing, they are filling time and they're not getting any juice out of it. It's because there's no meaning to their lives. Now with Judy, she got depressed, but she's aware that she was depressed. A lot of people get depressed and they don't know why. They don't understand it. And the reason is because you don't have a new identity and you don't have a new purpose. And what she did with my course is she literally listened to what I said and she did the exercises. And she came out at the other end with a desire to be a fitness instructor. That's actually not the right word. She corrected me, but it's physical fitness something, right? Helping people with their physical fitness.
Mhm.
So that's what she did. So she went out and she hadn't studied anything for 2 decades. And she learned about the body. She learned about how to make yourself fit, how to make others fit. She got certified and she used to live in Nashville and she moved to Seattle. We're talking about, this is a huge deal for somebody retiring and making a move physically, geographically, and what people in our industry call repotting. When you repot yourself like a plant in a new environment, there's new minerals, new things that can change the way you live and can change the way you of how you interact with people because of the different climate, different people, different nutrients, if you like, to use the plant analogy. So now she's actually got a program. She's also a smart woman. She joined a couple of other people who are instructors in this arena, and they serve the boomer community.
Fantastic.
People like them who need exercise, right? Just like you need exercise of the mind, you need exercise of the body. And so she loves what she does. She said she would do it if she wasn't paid, but she's making a living out of it.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic. And it is so true. Exercise, and we talk about this all the time. If you could get outside and take a walk, guess what? That's exercise. They say motion is lotion. And, I tend to go to the gym with my friends because guess what? That's where I go and we interact and we talk no matter what. People that are into that mode of physical fitness have some kind of a brotherhood, let's say, or even a sisterhood. Now, there are more women that are getting physically fit by lifting weights. But it doesn't matter if you do that. You play pickleball, you take a walk, you go gardening and get up and down all the time. It's just, it really does help in improving your mental health. It's one of the components where a lot of people's spirituality is one of the components, right, George? I mean, so you have mental, physical, spiritual, and then there's a financial component also. So if you get all of them going, and you say it all the time, right? If you get your mind right, the money will come. Good things will happen. You think positive. I mean, I always espouse that positivity beats negativity. So if you could think negative thoughts, there's a good chance that you're going to get negative results. It's just statistically, it's a proven thing.
Almost guaranteed.
Right? I think a lot of the stuff that you and I say and promote, for lack of a better word, are things that we actually went through. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you went through your situation. I went through mine and I got into a negative mindset and that wasn't really healthy for me. And so now I just, I'm self-aware. I worked on myself. I'm self-aware. I work on consistency. I work on self-love. I work on self-confidence. I focus on trying to be kind. And just if you could focus on those things, it's going to be just a better day. And get outside and enjoy nature. That's mental exercise, but it's also physical exercise. So I never really met Judy. So my comment about her being in her 70s, Judy, I'm sorry. I know you're going to listen to this eventually. George has corrected me. It didn't go by any other thing than I read one of the notes somewhere that said you were 70. So, George, I know you're 70, and I'm not there yet. So I'm the young guy. It's always nice to, at our age. It's nice to be the young guy. Yeah, yeah. Youth is wasted on the young. Yeah, anyway, so that being said, the other thing, George, is this. What about really the importance of the fact that you're very passionate about helping retirees redefine this stage of life, and how do you do that in the 8 module, which comes out, you get one a week, 8 module course, which also is a recorded course. And then on the live course, obviously, a little bit about that, perhaps, if you can give us some idea of what
Sure.
that whole thing is about.
Sure. In a nutshell, I have 3 courses. I have a new beginning course, which is a 1-hour course with 3 exercises. And it goes over the DARE methods. So you get 15 minutes on the letter D, 15 minutes on the letter A, 15 minutes on the letter R, and 15 minutes on the letter E. And then you have 3 exercises. So that's if you like, the taster course. The second course that Rich just mentioned is the pre-recorded program, which is everything's there. It's 8-week modules. You get one a week. It's drip fed once a week. And it's got exercises. You've got a video, audio, PDF of what I talk about for 20 to 30 minutes. And then you have an exercise for that week with a video showing you why that exercise is important and what you should be looking out for. There's also additionally a video on all 8 exercises, so you have a preview. So that's if you like, the pre-recorded program. And the last one is the live program, which is, again, 8 weeks. So you get everything that you get in the pre-recorded, plus for 8 weeks, you have me for 90 minutes each week, where I do a 30-minute presentation and then open up for Q&A. And then we spend an hour on doing the exercise while I'm on screen. So people have questions, and people have questions that you haven't thought about yet, but you will think about in a day or two, but it comes up and it triggers things for you. So you then have a whole week to do the exercise. You will have done some on that day that we do our 90-minute program, but you have a whole week to go over it, so that, because things marinate and you get different ideas, different things come out, you edit it, which is great. And then the following week, the same thing, a 90-minute session. I have a 30-minute talk, and then we open it up for 1 hour to go over the exercise. By the 8th week, we're bringing together the previous 7 weeks like a Lego. We're building on this, and we create a 1-page script. Now, everyone's different. Everyone's going to come away with different things. Some will know exactly what they want to do. Some will only make a 2% progress. Everybody's different, but the point is you're making progress. You're going towards where you want to be going. And for a lot of us, even if we know what we want to do, to get to where you want to go is a process. You're in this liminal state, right? Think of a ship that leaves port, leaves the harbor. You're out in the middle of the ocean. You've left land. The land that you just left is gone. You can't see it. It's beyond the horizon. You can't see the new land. You don't know who you're going to become. So you're in this process, this liminal space where, like the caterpillar in the cocoon, you turn into caterpillar juice. Everything about you is being squeezed. It's painful. Change is painful. No one likes change. We actually hate change so much that when we're in that boat of change, we want to jump out and get out of this place to a place of certainty. And by doing that, we miss the opportunity to alchemize. So imagine trying to open a cocoon to help the caterpillar. You'll kill it. That's what will happen. If you try to help the butterfly to emerge from the cocoon as it's emerging, you will kill it because it's a process it has to go through. And it's the same with us. In a sense, it's counterintuitive, it's countercultural, but there's an element of suffering that's required for us to grow. Right? Why is it that when we're growing up, our knees hurt and our bones hurt as we're growing, or when our teeth are coming out, that it's painful? Because growth is painful, and we try to avoid it. But all we do is we make things longer and more painful for ourselves instead of just going with it. And that's what I try to help you through this process. So the whole concept of dare is, I think, poetic, because my marketing person was a genius. She got exactly what I was trying to do, and she gave a letter to each and combined it all to create dare, which is another word for courage. So you need courage to go through this transformation. If you think this is painful, being stuck is even worse. So it's easier and better for you because there's no upside to being stuck, and it's still painful. This is painful relatively, but there's an upside. And so with dare, you need courage, and courage is not something we're taught, because courage is not an intellectual process. It's an emotional process, right? You have to have courage to make this leap, and then you can rationalize it. You can't do it the other way around. So DARE is also an acronym for discover, assimilate, rewire, expand. Because when you retire, you're likely to have 25 to 30 years to go. And how you're going to make that transition is really important. If you still have the old mindset doesn't have the capacity to move across this 25 years. If you have a fixed mindset, you can't move. You need a growth mindset. And growth mindset means you're able to cope with failure, because we only grow by failing forwards. Without failure, there is no success. Anyone who has success without failure is not successful. So having a growth mindset means that when you get things wrong, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. We've all been brought up with, you can't fail. You can't be a loser. That's rubbish. You can only become successful when you start losing and learning from losses. And that's how you meander to success. As C.S. Lewis used to say, the author and spiritual advisor used to say, failures are the stepping stones to success. What other people think is none of our business. Let them think what they think. You need to go forward to do what's right for you. So with DARE, you discover what retirement is and what it's not. And here I break it down for the facts, not opinions, because there are 6, 7, 8 billion people on this planet. Everyone has a different interpretation of what retirement is. But here I give you the facts, and you make up your mind from those facts. A is for assimilate new information about how our minds work. people don't understand that. I didn't understand it until I learned from Bob Proctor how our minds work. And that is the key to move forward to the letter R, which is how to rewire how our minds work. And then E is about expansion. Why? Because with 25 years to go, it is not a time to retreat and retire. It's a time to continue in expansion, but in a different way, not in the way that we did in the 40 years of work, in a more, shall we say, a wiser way, right? Learning from your experience and how to move forward to the next level, and not just with a higher purpose, but with a higher identity, a higher self of who you are. And I think we're close to time, so I'm going to pass it back to you, Rich.
In the old days, we'd say we're losing the satellite, but those are the old days. We're not going to lose the satellite. Anyway, just real quick, while I have you, instead of asking you what's next, why don't you tell us about what's next for you, besides the fact that we're going to go live with the course in sometime in April, but you're working on a project that is going to culminate in a book sometime in the summer, and some other possible tie-ins that are going to benefit a lot of people, including yourself, with just getting the message out more. So if you could talk a little bit about the time you spent going on a one pass around the world, and what's going to come of that, because I think it's kind of cool and people will really appreciate it.
Sure. One of the things in the process of teaching, I learned that when you reach retirement, you should take a gap year. And I don't mean necessarily 12 months. It can be 3 months. It can be whatever it is, however long you need to do it. Everybody's different. And you need to listen to yourself. What is it I want to do is the question. And while I was telling people that, take a gap year, go to a different geography, a different environment, look at your own life from a different perspective, from a different place. And in a new place, we learn new things from other people. That's on the basis that we have the humility that we don't know everything, right? Because if you know everything, you can't learn. If your cup is full, you can't fill it up anymore. And you have to have a beginner's mindset. And so I decided that one of the things I had to confront myself was, here I am recommending people to go on a gap year, and I haven't been on one myself. So I decided I need to walk my talk. So over a period of 6 months, I prepared to do something that a part of me was fighting against, right? As a kid, I loved the book Around the World in 80 Days, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to be the protagonist. And in a sense, my inner child was saying, yeah, let's do it. I want to do it. But there's a part of me, the responsible one, that goes, no, too much money, too much time. You can't afford it. It's just all the excuses to stop me from going, right? And I said, to hell with this. I'm doing it. And the minute I started looking into this round the world trip, my spirit rose. I got so excited about this that I said, this feels so good. It's got to be criminal to stop myself. And so I did it, right? Against everything that was militating within me to stop me from doing it. But once you take the first step, the universe comes in and scoops you up and pushes you out. And that's what happened to me. And I went around the world in 80 days. That was March to June last year. I circumnavigated the world. I'm not going to go into it now. It's too long to talk about it. Suffice it to say, I journaled every day. And ultimately on my return, I prepared the manuscript over a couple of months. And now it's with the publishers. And I'm hoping it's going to be out in the summer. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm working with the publishers on the edits and so on. So yeah, on the book cover, it's all about creativity, and I just love it. So yeah, that's it, Rich.
Fantastic. I mean, you underscore the fact that the basic misconception about retirement is that it's sitting back and doing nothing. And I think that your books and your courses, and even just listening to you and knowing you, you yourself promote that effortlessly without even trying. You're definitely not sitting back, and you're definitely not doing nothing.
No, that's right, Rich.
Are working like crazy, and good
But
for you.
The thing is, Rich, that it's not work for me.
Right.
Okay, I enjoy it. I'm an activist. I love what I'm doing. I would do this for no money. That's how much I love it. But the fact is that I really love what I do. And it's kind of like, this is what I mean about finding something that's bigger than you, that you can aspire to do. It's not just about me, and helping people to become the best version of themselves. And I know that everybody has that. It's just a lot
Yes.
of people have a lot of challenges, and what I try to do is help them take off that heavy armor that they're carrying around them, which they don't need.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Fantastic, George. It's a quick 30 minutes that stretches into overtime here, and
Always does.
nobody's complaining. Yeah, that's us exactly. Our 1 hour conversations go for 3, and the 30 minutes is always we're always tacking on extra time, which is a pleasure. So, folks, go visit George at georgejurgen.com. You could email both of us, leave comments, messages, and we will return them. We want to get you involved with this rebellion, so to speak. And I can't talk highly enough about the courses. The books are fantastic. Gratitude's very popular nowadays. Everybody's saying they're grateful for this, grateful for that, and that's a fantastic way to live. And when you wake up, write down 3 things you're grateful for. So the gratitude book is very timely. And the Dare book, there's so much talk also in the self-help industry and in mindset about discovering your purpose. And George truly has a roadmap for that in the book and the courses. And having sat in on the courses, listened to the courses, participated in them, they are fantastic, and they are at a minimum food for thought. They will give you ideas. They'll teach you that money isn't everything. Peace is as important as money is. And just having a positive mindset and realizing that it's not all about the trinkets that you could acquire in life. It's more about the happiness you have every day that you wake up. And that definitely took me 60 years to figure that one out. But I have no regrets. So I have learned the lessons, and I've made a bunch of mistakes in my life, and I've learned from them. And along the way, I've tried to help people. And if that has happened, which I believe I get the feedback that it has, well, my job here is done. So there's still some more people to help. I'm going to hang around for as long as I can. Once again, pleasure, George. Thank you. And thank you, everybody who stopped in. And also thank everybody that will be seeing this in the next week or so, because it's going to be on the Retirement Rebellion site. It's going to be on my personal site, and it'll be also across social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. You could see this and other podcasts that we've had, and other information that George has put out there that is being posted. So, George, anything else?
No, thank you, Rich, for this, and thank you everyone who attended.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Who knows? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We're still live. You switched off?
For some reason, it's exciting.
Clearly, Facebook can't get enough of you, Rich. They don't want to switch off.
No, yeah, hold on. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's just